I do. I need to see. Oh dear, my bald head. So
This is, I'm getting there, my friend. So you're here. Yeah, you can sit wherever you want. These two rows. Hey, where were you? Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
I'm sitting to cover my head. You don't need to cover your head.
Very How you doing? Right over here. On this road, right here, okay? I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Blocking your view.
Long time no see. It's been years. When was it? San Jose? Clarksdale? Yeah.
That is perfect.
Okay.
Oh, Gandhi. Hello. Good morning. Great to be here. Thank you. All of you from Clarksdale.
Right behind me. All right.
Yes.
Please. Would y'all please sit? Now, Joey, can y'all help get some? I think everybody's sitting down. I'm going to say a few words about live streaming first. Just to let
live now.
It's live now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wave to the camera.
Okay.
Well, you're not on it right this second, but we will be in a moment.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Before we get started, I want to share something with you as a courtesy to you, especially to those of us who are residents of Clarksdale. This event is going to be live streamed not only around Mississippi, but around our country and around the world. And so we are very proud of that. And I want to share this with you because, Clarksdale, you're in the spotlight now. So when it's time to stand up and cheer, do it proudly and do it loudly, because the whole world is watching you right now. Okay. All right? So, Joey, are we live streaming now? All right, everybody? You can wave over here, and the whole world is going to see Clarksdale. All right. Very good. And I would also ask, before we begin, if you could silence your cell phone. If you could be kind enough to take this out, turn your ringer off, and only if somebody from one of the capitals of the far corners of the world calls, answer. But otherwise, I'm going to ask you not to. All right, so I'm going to do it too. Here. It's about the only thing I know how to do on these things. So, all right. So I'm going to be speaking initially, for those of you who know me, for the audience outside of our area. And we will go ahead and begin. And I will say that good morning. My name is John Levingston, and I am the Executive Director of the Crossroads Economic Partnership, a collaboration of the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Authority of Coahoma County. And it is my honor to welcome each of you here, as well as those who may be viewing live stream in our state, our nation, and around the world. We welcome you to this singular event in our history as we honor a gift to our city and county that is unique in our community's history. We also come together to celebrate the legacy of a man who changed the course of a nation and inspired the efforts of so many to work for freedom and justice around the world. We come together to recognize and celebrate our community's deep and meaningful friendship with the nation of India, its extraordinary culture and people, and its 75th anniversary as a modern nation. As we begin, I'd like to call upon Father Rajiv of St. Elizabeth Catholic Church to open our program with a prayer. Father Rajiv?
At the outset, I thank all the dignitaries for giving me this great opportunity to lead you all into the prayer. Let me read first a great psalm from the Bible, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Fresh and green are the pastures, where he gives me repose. Near restful waters he leads me, to revive my drooping spirit. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. He guides me along the right path, he is true to his name. If I should walk in the valley of darkness, no evil would I fear. You are with your crook and staff, with these you give me comfort. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. You have prepared a banquet for me in the sight of my foes. My head you have anointed with oil, my cup is overflowing. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Surely goodness and kindness shall follow me all the days of my life. In the Lord's own house shall I dwell forever and ever. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Since this is a great occasion of Indian Council for Cultural Relations, I would like to say a beautiful Indian prayer which I liked when I was in the school, and it is almost in nearly every cultural events in India we recite this prayer. The meaning of this prayer is, Lord, lead me from the untruth to the truth. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let me sing. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrutyurma Amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us pray. Loving Almighty God, we thank you for gathering all of us together on the occasion of unveiling of a bust of Mahatma Gandhi, who led the people of India on the journey to freedom. We thank Lord for the gift of Mahatma Gandhi and his leadership skills. We implore you, Lord, to bless all the members of Indian Council for Cultural Relations and bless their efforts for good of both countries in the form of India and America. Bless the Consulate General of India in Atlanta and all the Clarksdale city officials and the people who are gathered here. Let you be our model as a good shepherd and help us to live according to your will by opening our eyes to the needs of others. Guide all the governing bodies of Coahoma County that through their guidance all people may experience your peace and love. Help us to create a better world. Help us to create a positive and productive community in Clarksdale, Coahoma County, and Mississippi Delta. Let we may reach out to each other in peace and love, not forgetting those who are in need. We especially ask you, Lord, to bless all the sponsors of this event. May their projects bring us closer together as community. Help us to participate and share the love and diversity that will move Clarksdale and the Delta into a community of faith, love, and togetherness. We make this prayer through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you for that beautiful prayer. In my capacity as our area's economic developer, I'm ever grateful for the leadership, the collaboration, and true partnership I have enjoyed with our city and county governments. To that end, I must recognize the graciousness and hospitality of Coahoma County Sheriff Charles Jones and his department. In Mississippi, by state law, it is the High Sheriff who is responsible for the courthouse and its grounds. It was he who so kindly allowed us to hold this event on the courthouse lawn and place this monument to peace, reconciliation, healing, and democracy at this place for all to see, enjoy, and be inspired. I wish to thank as well our outstanding Chief of Police, Robbie Lindley, and his wonderful team. He and his staff have so thoughtfully worked with us and with the Sheriff's Office to plan the details of this event. Now, this type of team effort in our community is especially evidenced in the economic development success we have enjoyed these past 4 years. The location of 2 new industries, the expansion of 2 existing ones, and the collaboration of a global software giant and our own People Shores. And in just a few weeks, we'll announce that another new business will locate here. None of this, thank you. None of this would have been accomplished or even possible without the successful collaboration of our Mayor and Board of Commissioners with our County Board of Supervisors. Together, they provide the candid, honest, and synchronous leadership that has enabled our recent successes. It gives me great pleasure to ask my friend and the Mayor, Chuck Espy, to welcome our guests on behalf of our city. Mayor Espy.
Good morning. To our friends around the world that are watching, to our local dignitaries, and we have a lot of special guests today. I want to make sure that we properly acknowledge our friends that are here today. But I want to tell my friends around the world, and especially in India, and who are faithfully watching and to see what happens globally around this world of ours. It was written. These days were written. Praveen, I want to tell you especially thank you for your dedication and your work. To the Chawla family, Suresh, your teamwork is invaluable. To the state of Mississippi and to the Mississippi Delta. This family has stood steadfast in the state of Mississippi for generations, and we're proud of them. Could you all please stand? Now, guys, I want to share this with you, and I want to make sure it's very clear. Economic development is a must in our Mississippi and the Delta. And we are making great strides, but I want to share this point with you and be very clear. Oftentimes, people depend upon the hard work of so many individuals to make things happen. That's true. Hard work does pay off. But I'm going to share with you something that I have lived by at City Hall from day one, from taking that particular position. I'm a firm believer that if you stand on God's word, things will happen through your hard work. City Hall had a practice some years ago that when we would start our board meetings, there would just be a moment of silence. Now, in my world, and to the gentlemen that are here today, that I served in the House of Representatives for some time, that practice is very different from what has happened for many years at City Hall. Every day, House and Senate members, we start our day with a prayer and a salute to the pledge. We do that religiously, consistently, every single day. And they can attest to it. Senator Jackson, Senator Simmons, and our very own Representative Orlando Payton. These guys have witnessed this, and it became a part of the fabric of what we do every single day in the state. It wasn't happening in Clarksdale. Clarksdale was spinning its wheels in mud every single year. Divisiveness, hard times, race relations is trying to be repaired in our city. But I knew on day one that that practice had to come to Clarksdale, gentlemen. I asked the good Lord, if you allow me to be mayor of this city, I will honor and openly speak your name daily when we start our meeting, Judge Webster. Openly. Ever since then, I knew that those days would be blessed. Every time we start our meetings, we open with a prayer and a salute to the United States of America. That practice has yielded dividends for this city. I'm very proud of that. Very proud. So I'll end where I started. It is good to see our friends and welcome them from around the world today, but it's very simple. It was written. The moments that are happening today in our city, it was told some time ago. And I'm thankful to not only serve you as the mayor of this city, but I am very thankful to my Savior, Jesus Christ, for leading us and getting to us to this point today. May God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor Espy. It has been a great honor to work with you these past 4 years, and they have paid results. And it is now my honor to ask my friend and the president of the Coahoma County Board of Supervisors, Mr. Johnny Newsom, to come forward and present a welcome from the county. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Giving honor to God, who's head of my life, I would like to say thank you all for gracing us with your presence, and all the members of the Consulate and all the elected officials who are here today, and especially the citizens of Coahoma County and the visitors. There are other supervisors here today that are not standing next to me, but I will ask them, if you would, just raise your hand. Thank you all for coming. Again, I would like to echo the thanks to Morley and the Charler family, and especially to People Shores for coming to Clarksdale. Let's give them a big round of applause. I would like to welcome you today, coming from the Coahoma County Board of Supervisors, in the spirit of freedom, justice, prosperity, love, and especially nonviolence, because Without nonviolence, I wouldn't be standing here today as Coahoma County Board of Supervisors member. Let's give the nonviolence cause a big round of applause. Let the spirit blossom all over the world to end all violence, especially gun violence, especially gun violence in our workplace, especially gun violence in our schools. So in the spirit of freedom, we welcome you today. So let's give each one of you all a big round of applause because we know what you stand for. Thank you all.
Thank you, President Newsom. And I can tell you that it has been a joy working with Johnny Newsom and with the County Board of Supervisors as we have been able to put together a variety of economic development programs, and their cooperation with the city has been stellar. So I thank you, President Newsom. My friends, today we are here to gratefully accept a gift in the spirit of friendship and brotherhood. About this day, some have asked, why celebrate India and why now? Others have asked, why erect a bust of Mahatma Gandhi? And these are worthwhile questions. To the question of India, I think it's worth noting that today, the partnership between the world's oldest democracy and the world's largest democracy has witnessed over the past decades an increasing convergence of interest on bilateral, regional, and global issues. Both countries collaborate on such matters as counterterrorism, maritime security, cybersecurity, as well as peace and stability in the Pacific region and beyond. There is hardly any field of human activity that is untouched by the collaboration between our nations. From the development of affordable medicines and vaccines, to the development of clean energy, to the defense and security sector, to education and job opportunities, each country offers the other. Our work together benefits and effects for the better, not only our countries, but the entire world. This year, India celebrates its 75th year as an independent democracy in an increasingly fractured world, when politics has become more tribal than partisan. One may consider the genuine value of celebrating another democracy reaching such a milestone. And perhaps we as Americans can take hope from their success and their achievement that our American experiment may continue. To the question of why Gandhi, in a story which appeared in the Washington Post in January 2020, Jillian Brackel wrote, Martin Luther King, and I quote, Martin Luther King first learned of Mahatma Gandhi as a seminary student in 1949, just a year after Gandhi had been assassinated. He soon wrote about Gandhi in his schoolwork as a person who, as King said, greatly reveals the working spirit of God. 6 years later, she continues, after the arrest of Rosa Parks, King led the 381-day boycott that would make him famous. Of the nonviolent direct action technique that he employed, King said, and I quote, Christ showed us the way, and Gandhi in India showed it could work. King was so inspired by Gandhi's accomplishments in the Indian freedom struggle that he made a one-month pilgrimage to India in January of 1959. He prayed at the shrine to Gandhi in New Delhi. During the trip, he met with Gandhi's son, cousins, and grandsons, and other relatives, and laid a wreath on his entombed ashes. King left India even more convinced of the power of nonviolent civil disobedience to effect social change. King said, and I quote, "I came to see for the first time that the Christian doctrine of love, operating through the Gandhian method of nonviolence, was one of the most potent weapons available to oppressed people in their struggle for freedom," unquote. Both King and Gandhi have taught, in the words of Federico Mayor, the former director of UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, that Gandhi's methods and ideas were, quote, "forthright, courageous, disciplined, assertive, and remarkably successful. They are based on big ideas and overarching ethical imperatives," unquote. Those ideas inspired not only King, but other leaders, such as Albert Einstein, Nelson Mandela, James Farmer, who founded CORE, and Congressman John Lewis. They were ideas used to successfully create the world's largest democracy, inspire the leaders of the American Civil Rights Movement, and soothe and encourage the soul and spirit of Nelson Mandela in his long struggle in prison. Our world has seen the likes of many leaders who have steered their nations through struggles, but few, if any, like Gandhi. As former President Barack Obama wrote in his memoir, Promised Land, I quote, "Gandhi's notion of satyagraha, or devotion to truth, and the power of nonviolent resistance to stir the conscience, his insistence on our common humanity and the essential oneness of all religions, and his belief in every society's obligation, through its political, economic, and social arrangements, to recognize the equal worth and dignity of all people. Each of these ideas resonated with me." Obama continues, quote, "Gandhi's actions had stirred me even more than his words. He had put his beliefs to the test by risking his life, going to prison, and throwing himself fully into the struggles of his people." Gandhi is a man for all seasons and all time. We're humbled to have his presence amongst us. But there's even more. The Indian American community in our nation and our state of Mississippi and our local community have made contributions that are significant to the well-being of our country and of lasting value to all our citizens. While comprising only 1.2% of our nation's population, their role in business, government, medicine, scientific research, and more has contributed to the strength, stability, and quality of life for all Americans. Locally, we are inspired by the work of People Shores and its remarkable founder, Murli Vuyaganti. He has created here a tech outsource company which will eventually scale to 200 employees or more, teaching them essential life skills as well as technical skills. He has instilled in that company and among its employees a culture of generosity, charity, and respect, as well as a sense of obligation to give back to our community. Their corporate mantra is love all, serve all. Think about that. To love all, serve all. There are very few companies I know who have that as a mantra that they say every single day. And it is in that spirit that Murli and the local Indian American community would like to present a gift to the Care Station, our local organization that provides meals for those in need. I ask Mahesh Bhakta, Dinesh Patel, and Ketan Patel to join me here to present the gift. Okay. All right. Good to see you. Okay. And I think we're going to present this to somebody. Here she comes. Okay. Would you help her? Okay. There we go. Yes, sir. Thank you. So this symbolic blanket is representative of 75 blankets that People Shores is donating to the care station for those who will need them this winter in honor of each of the years of India's independence as a democracy.
I'm Rosemary Delaney, and on behalf of the care station, we thank you. You serve the community through your employees and your dreams. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosalind, for accepting the blanket. And we thought the other 74 we could deliver over there rather than make you carry them today. Francella Ware is the manager of our People Shores Center here in Clarksdale. And I've asked Francella to share a few words with us about that remarkable company. Francella?
Good morning. All right. My name is Francella Ware. I'm the center manager at People Shores. I'm just very excited to be here and be able to speak. I live in Mississippi now, although I'm from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and so that's another story for another day of how I got here from Wyoming. But I grew up in sports in a culture of teamwork. And teamwork has been just a key part of my life. That's what drew me to People Shores. Several things drew me to People Shores, but that is one big thing that drew me to People Shores to come on board here. The other thing is our mission, and that's just to make a difference in the community, in the lives. You know, I see my team out here, our leaders, up-and-coming leaders as well, leaders in the making, as I call it. And so that's what drew me to People Shores. It is a company with passion, compassion. You know, John mentioned the love all, serve all. All those things drew me to People Shores. I'm going to keep talk with my hands and hit the mic. That's what drew me to People Shores because of that, being here in the community. I'm excited to be here. We have a young lady that is going to come up. I'm going to keep my thing brief. We have a young lady who's going to come up and talk to you about what People Shores has been to her. Her name is Marquisha Lester. She is our lead supervisor for one of our groups here, but she's also just has a phenomenal background. But Marquisha, I'm going to have you come up. And just thank you for allowing me to be here and to speak on behalf of People Shores. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is, again, Marquisha Lester, and I will also be brief. I'll give you my background. I've been with People Shores since the inception of the Clarksdale Center in 2019, and I can truly say I have seen it grow. When we first started out, we were 25, and now we're, how many now? Maybe almost 100, and that's just in 2 short years. January will be 3 years. April will be 3 years since I've been with People Shores officially. John spoke about the motto, love all, serve all, and that is something that from day one of orientation morally has shown. When everyone came in, we didn't know who was who. We just knew, okay, this is a new job, this is orientation, we're going to meet the leaders, and we're going to meet each other. You would not have known that Morley was the CEO because he was pulling out chairs, getting water, handing out plates, making sure that everyone else was taken care of. You know, most places the CEO might be sitting somewhere in the background just watching everything else happen. My background, let me get back to that. I am 26. I'm from a small town about 20 minutes away called Johnstown, Mississippi. Some of you may know it. I was going to school for political science. My aspiration was to be the next defense attorney somewhere in Mississippi. But life happened, and, I never could, being in this area, I never could find a job in my background. I always tell people, whoever, if you come to the center later, more than likely, I'm going to be the one to give you guys a tour. One thing that I say is that Clarksdale, Mississippi, the Delta, Mississippi in general, we have this thing called brain drain. Brain drain, I'm sorry. I never want anyone to come here and judge a book by its cover. There are people with, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, specialists. We have so much talent and potential in the Delta. The only thing is we need those jobs for those backgrounds to be in the Delta. That's what we don't have. So, we have to go to places like New York, Washington, any other of the 49, but Mississippi is not that one. And that's something that Morley is making a difference in. He's brought People Shores here. And like I said, my background was in political science. Before I got this job, I was looking at a bank job an hour away. I stay 15 minutes down the road, 20 minutes down the road. I have a 5-year-old son. So me getting up, I would have to get up more than an hour early to get there on time. I would have to drive an hour back. That's 2 hours being taken, more than 2 hours being taken away from my son when I can get up maybe 30 minutes before I have to clock in and get here on time. And I still have the rest of that day to spend with my child. So not only has it made my life as a mom better because I can put more time into my child, I don't have to feel that feeling of, do I have to make a living for my son or do I want to spend time with my son? I don't have to choose between the two. I can also say that People Shores has invested in me. I worked at places like Walmart. I worked at casinos. I worked at a school around the area. But orientation for any of those jobs is we're going to bring you in for 2 days. You're going to sit at a desk in a room. You're going to sign papers and you're going to get on the floor. And if you mess up, we're going to let you know, and it's not on us, it's on you. People Shores, and John talked about the life essentials. I can say I have a great woman. My parents are great, so they instilled those things in me. But People Shores added on to it, and with the new cohorts, I actually I was a part of their training. I was instructing them, and I can say, I'm telling you guys like I tell them, no other job is gonna take you through roughly 2 months of orientation, letting you know what we expect from you and what, and you letting us know what you expect from us. It's a give and take, and like I said, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get lessons or get taught professional. Like, this is what professionalism actually is. We're not just going to tell you to show it. This is how, this is how you can manage your work-life balance. We're not just going to say, hey, if you're late for work, you're fired. We know things happen, and we want to help you to manage those things. I'm getting so off topic. I'm a little nervous, you guys. But let me say this before I head to my seat. If there's any question or any doubt in anyone's mind that People Shores is doing what they said they were going to do, they are. I'm ready to see 200 plus employees. That's just Morley's starting goal. You started saying 200, but in a minute, John is going to have to find us another building, and it's going to be 5 or 6. So when you go home and you get the opportunity to tell others about People Shores, we're not going to bite. Come on down, visit us, talk to Morley, see how you can be integrated into this culture of life. You guys have a good day.
She does awesome.
I don't know, Morty. We may have to run Markeisha for public office. What do y'all say? I'd vote for her. I'd vote for you. One of the great organizations representing the Indian American community globally is India Aspra. We are honored today to have with us a gentleman I met maybe almost 3 years ago in San Jose, Mr. M.R. Rangaswamy. who is the founder of Indiaspora, a nonprofit organization which is a network of national and global leaders who are committed to providing the Indian American community a platform to collaborate, build community engagement, and catalyze social change for the better. Prior to founding Indiaspora, MR was and remains a force in the tech sector in the United States. He participated in the rapid expansion of the Silicon Valley and was an executive at several firms. In 1997, he founded the Sandhill Group, a software consulting and investment company, which was one of the early angel investors in the Valley. He is the recipient of numerous recognitions, including the U.S.-China Educational Trust Award, and was recognized as one of the Forbes 25 most successful tech investors in the United States. Please welcome M.R. Rangaswamy.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here from San Francisco. As I was driving in to Clarksdale, I was thinking, why am I going to Clarksdale? What's going on over there? But then I recalled Martin Luther King was here in 1958, I believe. And then he went to India in 1959. And history has it, 52 years later, we have a statue of Mahatma Gandhi here in Clarksdale. So I said, all roads lead to Clarksdale. So I want to continue on John's theme of Martin Luther King going to India, like he said. There's so many things I read up on that as I was coming to this meeting. When he went to India, it wasn't like I take trips to India now. I get on a plane in San Francisco, 16 hours later, I'm in New Delhi. That's today, right? When Martin Luther King was going to India, it took him 6 days. 6 days and multiple flights before he went to New Delhi. He's jet-lagged. He's there with his wife, Coretta Scott King. They come in. They're garlanded, wreaths. People in India were excited to see him. And then they take him to his nice hotel near India Gate, right? He goes in, and they'd arranged a news conference, right? Here he is jet-lagged, and he has to do a news conference. And so the press is peppering him with questions. Can there be interracial marriages in the South? Are you a vegetarian? These are the kind of questions the press asked him, right? And the response he gave was profound. He said, I go to many countries as a tourist. I come to India as a pilgrim. That's what he said. And of course, he went to Gandhi Samadhi, which is where Gandhi was cremated. He emotionally broke down. He was kneeling there, praying. He was deeply, deeply impacted by Gandhi's work and what he stood for. And then he got to travel around India. He went to Mumbai, which used to be called Bombay. And there, they invited him to stay at Gandhi's residence. That was amazing. So here he is. He goes to India. He stays in Gandhi's house in Mumbai. And he was so impacted again by this. He even called him Gandhi Ji. J-I in India is for respect. So he got into the Indianness of everything there as well. So here's a man, he had a lot of debates with Indian students saying, can the African American community use nonviolence as a technique back here? These were big debates that he had in colleges. He even went to my hometown, which is Madras, which is Chennai, India. So proud of that he was able to come there. So that was his journey in India. Incredible, the impact he had both on Indians at that time and on the African American community and all that here as well. So why am I here? That's what I was thinking coming here, right? There was a famous debate where a vice presidential candidate once says, who am I? What am I doing here, right? I think that was years ago. But, the reason I'm here is because of Indiaspora. Indiaspora is this nonprofit community that's a force for good. And we do 3 different things. One of that is to get involved in the community. And so on Gandhi's birthday, which was October 2nd, just a few days ago, we did a peace march in San Francisco. We walked across the Golden Gate Bridge. We did almost 5-mile walk to the other side and back. And we only had to brave the fog in San Francisco. We didn't have to fight things like Martin Luther King did when he did his marches, or Gandhi did when we just have to brave the fog. And then I'm here for the unveiling of Gandhi's statue. So we get involved in a lot of community activities. That's one thing we do. The second thing is entrepreneurship and innovation. You saw Markeisha, and I was hard to go after her as a speaker because I'm like, oh man, what are people going to think of me? You know? But entrepreneurship and innovation is something that the Indian American community is very successful at. Silicon Valley is filled with Indian entrepreneurs, CEOs of Indian origin, right? Google, Microsoft, Adobe, they're all Indian CEOs running these companies. And there's so many venture capitalists. So this community can be very helpful, as evidenced by Murali here, who's set up shop. And so we want to take this concept and culture of innovation and entrepreneurship and spread that wealth across the country and across the world. The 32 million diaspora of Indian origin, people of Indian origin living throughout the world. And we can be a force for good, and that's the intent of Indiaspora. And that's why entrepreneurship and innovation is so important. And then the final thing we do is philanthropy. Our community is a community of color, but it's a privileged community of color. That's what I tell people. And with that privilege comes responsibility. We have to give back more. We need to be known as givers, not takers. And that's what we stand for. And in Clarksdale, and that's the kind of philanthropy we like to see in our community, right? Someone giving back their time and effort in helping people who are underprivileged. And so that's a big part of Indiaspora as well, is to really support philanthropy. So why am I here? Again, I'm here because of what this great man has done, his relationship with MLK. And, you know, after Martin Luther King came back from his trip, he actually preached on Palm Sunday. And part of his speech was about obviously his trip. And he made a very profound statement. He said, you know, when Christ talks about, I guess, about people outside of his fold, he said one of the strange ironies that he experienced was the greatest Christian in the 20th century was a non-Christian. And he said that in his sermon on Palm Sunday, and he meant that about Gandhi. So with that, I want to conclude my remarks, and we all look forward to the beautiful unveiling of this bus that was given to the city of Clarksdale. Thank you so much. And I have here someone else I want to introduce at this time. And this gentleman, I got to know him over the past couple of years. I suddenly get a call because this Indian community of 4 million people that John referenced, we know each other. So someone calls me and says, there's this crazy guy who lives in Houston, Texas, and he wants to create a museum for Gandhi. And there's no museum for Gandhi in the United States. There are statues and busts, but no museum. So I end up talking to this gentleman, and he says, we're going to call it the Eternal Gandhi Museum. This is a living, breathing museum for Mahatma Gandhi. And we got to be friends, and I want to bring up Mr. Atul Kothari to tell you a little bit about this living, breathing, eternal Gandhi Museum. Atul?
Namaste, Mayor of Clarksdale, Supervisor of the Coahoma County Board of Supervisors, the People's Shores, distinguished guests. Thank you so much for having us, and most importantly, bringing Gandhi to Clarksdale. And with that, I bring hearty congratulations and compliments from Eternal Gandhi Museum, Houston, to the city for having the bust here. Now, a lot of things have been said about various relationships with the United States and so on and so forth. What I'd like to share with you are two different things. One is my personal journey on this endeavor, and second, how Gandhi is recognized and what impact he had on this world. So my journey began about 20 years ago when I first read his autobiography. And for me, it was a eureka moment. I found the meaning of life, and that was practice your truth non-violently. Practice your truth non-violently. Then, as Gandhi has said, be the change you wish to see. And I asked myself, if the life is so simple, what have I done for this great man? And then we founded this organization, Gandhi Museum Houston, back in 2000. Then in 2006, we approached the mayor of Houston, Mayor Bill White, and we were surprised. Just asking him to take this event citywide, he readily agreed. He was the chief guest, and the keynote speaker was none other than Reverend Bill Lawson of Willard Avenue Baptist Church. So starting with that, fast forward 10 years, and in 2016, this crazy idea, as Emma had mentioned, came to us. Let's establish a museum. And you won't believe, we applied to the Department of Housing and Urban Development for a grant. And one of the requirements for the application was that we need to have letter of support from 5 elected officials. And we had only 10 days to get that, to meet the deadline. And guess what? We got support from 8 officials, including the mayor of Houston, city council person, county commissioner, state representative, state senator, and you won't believe is Congressman Al Green and Sheila Lee Jackson as well joined in the request. So this is our personal journey, and this is my personal invitation to each and every one of you to come to the grand opening of the museum next year, sometime in fall. Now, regarding his impact globally, what I would like to do is to share with you a documentary by the name of A Force More Powerful by Mahatma Gandhi. Third one is Freedom Struggle in South Africa, and discipline that was there. So please be sure to watch that on this occasion. That'll be a great tribute you can pay to Mahatma Gandhi. So once again, congratulations to all the officials for a great job and having Gandhi here in Clarksdale. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us here, MR. It's always good to see friends again and to have them come to our community. And we hope you will come here often and join us here. This will be the first of many trips for you. We're gonna also teach you a little bit about SEC football here. You talk about the weekends in the fall, my friend. You got to know about SEC football. But I also thank you both for your beautiful message. Our state economic development agency, the Mississippi Development Authority, is among our greatest and our most essential partners in every economic development project in this community. They have channeled funding for infrastructure development, provided counsel, and today I am pleased to welcome 2 members of their team to Clarksdale. Dr. Sumesh Arora is the Director of Energy and Natural Resources at the Mississippi Development Authority. He and his team work with companies across the state to ensure energy sector growth through energy efficiency programs and workforce development, energy projects, and policy development. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Arora. Would you stand up so that we can see you? There you are. Great to see you. Thank you. Joe Donovan is the Director of Technology, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship at the Mississippi Development Authority. In that role, he has created an ecosystem that raises entrepreneurs and attracts startup businesses to our state. He has served as the COO, CFO, and CEO stations around the United States. He has taught business classes for many years at Millsaps College.
Again, back to the great state of Mississippi. We'd like to see you more often. Let's come on back again. We appreciate you coming the first time. So anyway, thank you for being here. And in my position with the Mississippi Development Authority, it fits exactly with what People Shores does. Yeah, we used to chase jobs in Mississippi. Jobs are great. We chase careers. And that's what we have at People Shores is careers. I look at emerging technology-intensive companies, and we're taking Mississippi. We still chase smokestacks. We do that pretty well. But we're chasing emerging technology businesses. We're chasing a knowledge-based economy, which fits exactly with what I've heard all day today. The only thing is I want more of you here. So quit going to Silicon Valley, come here. Mississippi wants you. We have an amazing workforce. We have an amazing governmental system that supports business. We don't get in your way. We help you. And the other thing we want to do is invest in what you do as a community. And I think that's the important part, is when I look at technology businesses, what I don't hear first off is, well, what's the tax incentives? What I hear from a technology business is, tell me about the place. Tell me about life and people. Because that's what they're investing in, is life and people. People Choice has done an amazing job with that, both with initially the careers they've developed, the technology they're using. The clinic, I was stunned when I went there the first time. They bring back and they add back to the community. That's what we love to see. So, on behalf of the governor,
We are also very honored to have with us three of our outstanding legislators. To ask you to please welcome my friends, Senator Jackson, Representative Payton, and Senator Simmons. Thank you. Please.
Those of you who are from Mississippi know that we just adopted that flag, and the three of us that are standing here supported the change, and of course you know we needed it. Thank you. The other thing I'd like to mention is that yesterday I had my booster shot vaccine, and I encourage everybody to get vaccinated. But we're here to present a proclamation from the state legislature, and I wanted to thank again John Livingston for giving us this opportunity to be a part of this program, and so glad to be flanked by my Senate Minority Leader, Derek Simmons, and Orlando Payton in the House, Indian Council of Cultural Relations, and the Consulate General of India at London. And of course, the great gift that you're providing to the city of Clarksdale and Coahoma County.
Like these gentlemen, members of our county and city boards, and their staffs that work, staffs don't often get a lot of credit, but I tell you, I've worked with every one of them, and they're remarkable people. And I'm grateful to our state representatives for their participation today, but also for their work every day on behalf of our community at our state capitol in Jackson. I thank you all very, very much. One of the greatest pleasures my job affords me. Now wait a minute, you need to really hear this. She's a career diplomat, but she holds a Bachelor of Medicine and a Bachelor of Surgery in the Indian Diplomatic Corps. During her career and prior to her appointment as Consul General in the United States, she served in posts throughout the world, including Great Britain, South Africa, Spain, Greece, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and the Holy See. Dr. Kulkarni is married to B.J. Kulkarni, and together they have two accomplished daughters who will become more frequent, and that we will have the pleasure of her company more often here in Clarksdale. It is my great honor to ask you to stand and welcome with me the Consul General of India Atlanta, Dr. Swati Kulkarni.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston. I called him Livingston, okay? You heard right. Namaste. Mayor of the city of Clarksdale, Mr. Chuck Espy. Mr. Johnny Newsom, President of Supervisory Boards, Coahoma County. Esteemed members of State Legislature, Senator Robert Jackson, Representative Orlando Payton, and Representative Derek Simmons. Such a pleasure to receive this wonderful proclamation. Mr. Joe Donovan of the Mississippi Development Authority, my colleague Mr. Sumesh Arora from the MBA, Mr. M.R. Rangaswamy from California. No? He is from the Silicon Valley, friendly diaspora. Mr. Atul Kothari from Houston, from the Eternal Gandhi Museum. I must say again, Mr. John Livingston, the Executive Director, and we have to twist his surname anyway, so you know now the trick. Then Mr. Unmesh Janwala, he is representing the office of Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. He is here. My colleagues from the Consulate, they can wave it here. They are here. Friends from media, my esteemed community leaders coming from all over the place, we are really, really happy that you are witnessing this ceremony. I pay respects to the policymakers of the state of Mississippi, the cultural center in the Mississippi Delta. Let me tell you a little story here, why this statue eventually we are doing this ceremony here. See, in mid-April, I visited along with my husband this beautiful city of wonderful world, the city of Clarksdale, the birthplace of Mississippi blues. His wonderful team at the People Shores and other dignitaries also, because we also visited Mississippi and we met Governor Reeves to India in due course. Then my ambassador visited in first half of July to Atlanta. That time it was so nice to see again Mr. John and Mr. Murli in Atlanta and carry on our discussion. But during that time another subject was added, how to have the bust of Mahatma Gandhi in Clarksdale. I never thought he is like a Spider-Man because he went immediately to Clarksdale and he started all the work, the background work which is required to be done, and here I am, so quick. I am most delighted to be here, and this is one of the most important landmark in our national calendar, and that's what we call the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, what we translate as a democratic festival, because we are celebrating it 75 weeks before and after, when we will complete 75 weeks of our independence. This is again an important landmark because why? We are celebrating 152nd birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. We are celebrating 62nd anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's visit to India and 92nd birth anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So these are important occasions. This magnificent bust has been commissioned and supplied by Indian Council of Cultural Relations, and it's designed by a very famous sculptor called Mr. Ram Sultan. The same bust is in front of my consulate, so we have something to share here. Both our countries have been inspired by leaders, and leaders none other than Dr. Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi, and their legacy continues to endure till date. The land of America, where Dr. Martin Luther King and we enjoy a very good strategic partnership. So our past is secure, our present is secure, and I am confident that it will help us in overcoming our geography and we will reach further and further heights. Mahatma Gandhi is father of our nation. Father, we call him as father of our nation, and he is the apostle of peace. The political strategy of his rested on moral force, the soul force or a truth force, and his technique was based on truth and only truth, pursuing truth, discovering truth, and he drew from all religions, all cultures. He himself was a Hindu, but he drew from Christianity, Hinduism, Muslim, the Islam, the Jainism, the Buddhism, everything. And he was influenced by various tall leaders like Tolstoy, those Theo, Rousseau, and many others. So he advocated the universal peace and compassion, and he represents the confluence of all the best in East and West. He advocated ecological and the sustainability when the whole world was grappling with the industrialization. That was the mantra during those days. So today my government has these principles. When we are trying to have balance between urban and rural life, we are following in steps of Mahatma Gandhi. So when Dr. Martin Luther King visited what he called the land of Gandhi, he discovered all these beautiful things. Then his 50th anniversary, during that time, the congressional delegation was led by Congressman John Lewis. And I had a distinct pleasure to meet him, because when we installed a statue in our consulate, he was that time my president of ICCR came and we met him during that time. So he visited in 2009 to mark this 50th anniversary of late Congressman, Dr. Martin Luther King. And he saw a small student learning about non-violence. He was so impressed that he came back and introduced Gandhi King Scholarly Initiative in the House of Representatives, and it will help in molding the younger generation. And when President Obama went to India in 2010, he addressed the parliament. At that time he said, I might not have been president had it not been for Gandhi and the message he gave and shared with world and America. So these are the people. That's a strong connect between India and Southeast USA. For example, with Mississippi, we have this cultural connect between Indian music and Mississippi blues. We have, you must have heard about the Bollywood movie Mississippi Masala, where the George Washington is there, and it's a wonderful movie again. But most important is the bilateral trade and investment ties. See, we have to explore the untapped potential here, because now the bilateral trade is only 250 million. We have 5 companies and they have invested more than 100 million and they have created 400 jobs locally. The latest newcomer is People Shores, and Mr. Murli Gulam Ganti is one of the brightest and shining star here. And People Shores has shown how technology can penetrate the rural hinterland. How the young people can be motivated, like the young girl who spoke so passionately and so from the bottom of her heart, how it has changed her life, how it has inculcated the creativity and innovation as far as the cyber technology and all those IT things are concerned. So that's because the rural shores, we always know offshore, onshore and everything, but People Shores, that's called the People Shores when you are touching so many lives. So and Mr. Livingston also said that we are going to have one secret. One company is still coming, right? Yeah. So that secret we will hold on. That's for next time. So we want these success stories that will consolidate our thriving, going ahead bilateral partnership, which we call. So amid this 21st century, which is we call, and teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi, let us reinforce the core human values they have taught us. Let us creatively reflect on their life, meaningful way, and see what the noble ideals are, what their timeless message is. And that is what the extraordinary inspiration for all of us. So, we are here from the Consulate to extend a warm hand of friendship to the people of Mississippi, to the policymakers of Mississippi, so that we nurture this productive and constructive engagement, so that we partner for mutual benefit, and I, wish all of you happiness and success on this significant occasion. Thank you. Jai Hind.
I want to ask, I think it is now time to unveil this beautiful bus. I'm going to ask Dr. Kulkarni and Murli and MR to come. And would you lead them over there, please?
I just want to thank our Reverend Mr. Rajiv also. Yeah, you did a wonderful job of invitation. Thank you.
Yes, so you go either side and just pull. I promise you it will come off. Because we arranged it that way.
Tell us when, John.
All right. Everybody, 1, 2, 3. Come on. There we go. There we go. Oh, yes. Dr. Kulkarni, would you read what this says? Please. Sorry. Maybe you can come here, Dr. Kulkarni. Come here, Swati-ji, and stand up here. We have to come right here. There we go.
So it's a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on M.K. Gandhi. Jesus showed the idea.
Sorry, over here.
Jesus showed the idea, but Gandhi gave us the method. Gandhi unpacked the life of Jesus more than anybody in history. If humanity is to progress, Gandhi is inescapable. He lived, thought, and acted inspired by the vision of humanity evolving towards a world of peace and harmony. We may ignore him at our own risk.
Fabulous. Swati-ji, thank you. So I thank each of you for joining us this morning. I thank all of the dignitaries from around the state and our local community. This day marks a singular moment in our community's history as we have the opportunity to reflect thoughtfully on this outstanding gift and a lasting memorial to a great world leader. To consider those other global leaders he so profoundly influenced, to relish the growing, lasting friendship and deepening cooperation between our two great democracies, and to commit ourselves to the development of a greater global vision for our community and its future. It is my fondest wish that as we part from this ceremony, we reflect on the great work of Mahatma Gandhi and the lesson he leaves for us, that by working and living together in peace and with respect for everyone, we can all participate in bending the arc of the moral universe a little closer to justice. Again, I thank you for joining us this morning.